Here we go.
Let's do this.
All right. Well, just keep up with me, Alan.
Yes.
I'm going to go through these quick. These are all the movies that I was not present to do a review. So I'm giving you my quick rapid fire review. All right. So, in fact, I never stopped going to the movies. As much as my speech may be somewhat compromised, I'd say I'm about 80%. I go to the movies every week, 3 times a week. So I saw everything that Alan was seeing, which is why sometimes I was frustrated watching the stream that I could not express my opinion, Alan. So there you go. So let's talk about it. Civil War. I love Alex Garland. This was, I think I like the idea that he went into this movie to try and stay apolitical, but at the same time, he basically made heroes of the journalists rather than questioning the mainstream media and poking fun at that, or at least poking holes or mocking it. And while I thought the third act was actually a good payoff and shocking, this was a pass for me. So pass on Civil War from me. Next, I'm just getting warmed up. Challengers. Okay. I am not a Zendaya fan. Everyone thinks she is hot and sexy. She's too skinny for me. I'm afraid I would break her. And I don't find her sexy. I thought this movie was trying to be sexy, and she is the most unlikable character. Her character in the movie was so unlikable, and all the homoerotic stuff was just so tiresome and so blatant and so obvious. I will not see a worse movie. This is on my top of worst of the year. Challengers. Next. Boy Kills World, fun. Bill Skarsgård, a lot of fun. A video game inspired movie that had, was it John Benjamin did the voice? Did I say that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Very video game inspired. I love the hyper violence. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I had a good time at the movies. So a mild recommend. Next. Arcadian. It was okay. But I'll watch anything. Arcadian. I'll watch anything with Nicolas Cage. I am just a super fan of Nicolas Cage. I'll watch a bad Nicolas Cage movie. I'll watch a good Nicolas Cage movie. I love Nick Cage. So even though I thought this movie was kind of a by the numbers monster movie, Nick Cage is in it. I'm watching it. So mild recommend from me. Next, The Fall Guy. I loved it. I saw it twice. I know some people are saying like, oh, and it didn't perform well at the box office. This was made fun of the industry. It built up stuntman. So it was sort of broke, the veneer of what happens in Hollywood. Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling have chemistry. It had great comedic moments, and I strongly recommend it if you haven't seen it. Next. Okay, this is weird. I saw the TV Glow. It is about an obsession for an old TV show. When these kids were younger, they used to watch this show that was a horror show for children. And it's feels very David Lynch, very weird for weird's sake. They grow up and there's an obsession with the show. And it's all about the obsession with it. And then you see the show as an adult. You have a very different view of it. This movie is not for everybody. I'm saying if you like weird David Lynch or weird for weird's sake, I'm recommending it. If you don't like it, do not go see this movie. But frankly, I really, really enjoyed it. It's a director I've never heard of. Her name is Jane Shobrun. And I just thought it was it's all about the tone of this movie. So if you like weirdness, then go see it. Next. Silo. This is on Apple TV Plus. It started out, the first 3 episodes are amazing. There's a different lead character for the first 3 episodes until it gets to Rebecca Ferguson, who becomes the focus. It's a procedural, like a cop show, but set in a silo in a post-apocalypse. 10,000 people live in this silo. The outside world is a barren landscape. And if you say the words, I want to leave the silo, you have to go outside. Everyone who goes outside dies. So in the first couple episodes, you see 2 people do this, they die, and they're sitting under this withered tree. And it shifts focus to Rebecca Ferguson, who is an engineer whose lover dies in mysterious circumstances. Is there murder? What happened? So the whole thing is an investigation of that, leading to a payoff that was terrible. So this show, I really enjoyed it up until the ending, and did not pay off. But it has a great, and then Common is in the movie or in the show. Common is playing Common. He's just in it. And he's sort of a heavy in it, and there's no acting involved. He's just be Common. Great. Totally didn't work. Yeah. So a lot of people have said some interesting things about this show. I say after seeing the whole thing, it's a pass for me. So pass on Silo. Fallout. I did see all the episodes of Fallout. I have played the video game previous incarnations, and I gotta say, I had fun with Fallout. Walton Goggins is incredible as the ghoul. The actress who plays the lead actress, I thought was really likable. The circumstances are just bizarre. It was fun. It captured the look of the game, which I thought was fine. It played with a lot of ideas. And I got to say, I loved it until the last episodes. The last episode was so bad, so contrived. It made me hate the rest of the show. Now, I got some inside info. It's been picked up for 2 more seasons at least. So there will be more Fallout coming. The ending betrays everything. It's about the lead character. What's her name? I forget her name. Someone in the chat.
Lucy or something like that. Or
Lucy. Yeah, Lucy. Yeah. It's about her search for her father, right? Something happens. He's thrown out into the world, and she's searching for Kyle MacLachlan, who's just great. He's great in the show. And the payoff is so bad. It made me hate it. So, but the girl who plays Lucy, Ella Purnell, is so good. Walton Goggins, great, really great. The rest of the cast, sort of mixed, but I liked it. The guy played a Maximus, Aaron Moten. Not so good as that. I thought the character was bad too. Not all of the actor's fault, but it just disappoints me because I wanted to like it. I really was hooked watching every episode. The last episode it did not stick to the landing. So pass on Fallout. Okay, now we're getting to something here. Shogun, I was obsessed with. This show, it's a slow burn at the beginning. So it takes the first 3 episodes to really fully get into this. I saw the original Shogun as a kid in the was it the early 80s?
Yeah.
I loved it. Richard Chamberlain as
The handsome guy.
Yeah. Blackthorn, so good. In the 70s, I remember watching it with my grandfather, who was obsessed with Japanese culture. He was in the Navy and he went to Japan in World War II. So he had like a samurai sword that he got as a souvenir. I don't know if it was real or anything, but he had a sword. And we watched that. I remember Karamaska, hi, hi, just the language. And I remember really enjoying the old show. This modern adaptation, I think, is fantastic. It's based on real Japanese history in the 1600s, and it plays with it. It's not fully accurate. The events that play out are not fully accurate to real history, but this show, it's a slow burn. I got more and more obsessed. And again, that last episode, some people have problems with the last episode. I actually loved it because it's building up to something you think is going to happen. It doesn't happen the way you think it does. And I thought it was very poetic with Toranaga, played by Hiru. Yeah, hey, try to pronounce this with a stroke. All these Japanese names. Hiroyuki Sanada, who was in John Wick 4, who's great. You've seen him in a million things. He is so good as Toranaga, was fantastic. Such a great supporting cast. Anna Sawai as Tora Mariko, the translator, and Cosmo Jarvis as Anjin-san, Blackthorn, was just good. The music too by Atticus, what's his name? Atticus Ross. The score is fantastic. It's on Spotify. I loved it, and I thought the ending, because I heard weird things about the ending, I actually really enjoyed the ending. And if you're Asian and you don't see Shogun, you're a dishonor to your family. Alan.
It's not how that works. It's not how that works.
Is that not how it works?
It's not how it works.
In fact, I think I'm going to rewatch it, and the audiobook is on Spotify. Just Shogun, Chef's Kiss, more of that. Now, guess what? There's not going to be a second season of Shogun because it's based on one book. That's it. So where are we going to go? I don't know. But
Rings of Shogun. That's where we're going next.
What's that?
Rings of Shogun. That's
Rings of Shogun will be a fictionalized, terrible retelling. No, I'm probably gonna rewatch it because I thought it was so good. We do have some good TV coming up in June. We have The Acolyte.
Yes.
And we have the Dragon Show.
Yeah, I can't wait to get our early episodes of The Acolyte.
Oh, we're gonna talk about it. So. But Shogun, probably the best thing I've seen in the last month. So
on television.
Next, what am I talking about? On the list of worst movies of the year, alongside challengers, is Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver. If you love wheat and farming, how Zack Snyder could be so proud and talk about this with a straight face is strange. I despise this. I despise it. I want the 2 hours of my life back. This is the worst. There's not a worse thing I've seen. It's just terrible. What'd you think of it, Alan?
It was horrible. Because when you made me watch this again, or watch this, I had only gotten through half of the first one, and it was just a chore to have to watch both of them back to back. My biggest issue is its derivative. Everything in this movie he stole from someone else. There's not an original thought in this movie.
Not one original idea. And that ending is so dumb. Mm-hmm. And just everything about it, their strategy to beat them, like everything was just terrible.
Yeah. And you'd seen it before. That's the thing.
You know what? watch Battle Beyond the Stars. Battle Beyond the Stars. James Cameron did the effects for it. James Horner did the soundtrack. It's such a great movie. It's a better version. Battle Beyond the Stars, a movie from the 80s with John Saxon as the villain.
Mhm.
So good. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And if you want
Trash.
this story, go see Bug's Life. It's a much better story.
Bug's Life or Seven Samurai or Magnificent Seven. Yeah,
absolutely.
bad. Yeah, bad. Next. You know what? I went and saw it in a theater. And in light of Disney Star Wars, okay, in light of Disney Star Wars, it's weird how this actually holds up. It had the most practical effects. The music amazing, lightsaber duels fantastic. The world building, I mean, it's flawed. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is great. I'm saying in light of Disney, it was awesome. And my memories of episode 1, seeing it way back when, 1999, the movie was not the best part. It was the experience of being reunited with Star Wars fans, waiting in line to see a movie. And God, it was fun. And the screening I went to was packed.
And when the midnight showing was an actual midnight showing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it was fun. It was nostalgia. And it's the first time seeing it in a theater in 25 years. And this was when seats were not reserved. No reserved seats. You had to get in line for a movie. You couldn't show up last minute and grab your seats. So, yeah.
Oh, and then people walking through saying, "Is that an empty seat? Can you move over?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I had a good time with it.
All right. And then finally,
okay. I saw the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trilogy. I went every week dutifully on Tuesdays for $5 Tuesday and saw this film. It's remarkable. This trilogy. And I know it's like, okay, the first one, really good, amazing, great. So many great moments. The music, the chemistry between Kirsten Dunst and Tobey Maguire was palpable. The sense of wonder, the early effects, do they hold up? Some of it, not really. And then Spider-Man 2, chef's kiss. So, I mean, I got emotional. And the interesting thing was seeing this with a crowd, okay? These are people, it was people in their 20s mostly, kids, right? They never saw this movie in a theater. They probably already seen the movie. They were howling. The romance between Mary Jane and Peter Parker, they were laughing, they were saying things that you would hear this. Ooh, there'd be some romantic thing, like she'd bat her eyes at him. You're not interested, and you'd see Toby like nerdy, and here's what struck me about the movie. So the trilogy and Spider-Man 3, yes, Venom is terrible. They shouldn't have had Venom in the movie, but I love Bully Maguire. When Toby goes bad and he's got the hair like the hair is like this, it's sort of badass hair. He's got it like that, and the black suit and the going like this. A guy at the screening I was at wore a black suit and got up and did the audience was howling for the memes. They knew the memes, but this audience had not seen it in the theater since when it first came out. They all clapped during parts of the movie, and at the end just clapped. I've never seen a reaction to a modern movie like I saw a reaction to this movie in a theater. It's like audiences are starving for this. The other thing about this movie, you're going to be surprised by, because no one mentioned these things when these Spider-Man movies came out in the early 2000s. They are very patriotic. Images of Spider-Man next to an American flag. Every one of the movies had that. Some pose with Spider-Man, American flag. And you know what else was in this movie? Religion. Mary Jane is going to marry, J. Jonah Jameson's son in the church, right? There are references to religion. Aunt May has a cross, and she references God. It's not pushed. It's not an agenda being pushed. It's just part of their lives is faith and religion. And I got like choked up. Like, these are old school American values. Romance between a young man and a young woman. Religion and values as part of your life. Patriotism. Old school heroism. I'm willing to sacrifice myself, the ones I love. Watching these 3 movies in a theater again, I was like, this is why modern superhero movies are failing. All of those things, none of the things I mentioned are present. Heroism, self-sacrifice, patriotism, old school romance, religion, gone. And I didn't, when I saw, Spider-Man when it first came out, I didn't even notice those things. And now that all of those things are absent from modern movies, it's very clear. It's very clear that their absence is felt. And God, they're still showing all the Spider-Man movies. I'm not a huge fan of the Tom Holland ones because I think Zendaya's miscast. There's no chemistry between them at all. Tom Holland is very milquetoast. They feel kind of woke and sort of annoying. Yeah, but there you go. That's my rapid fire. And the lesson is the Spider-Man movies, the values in the Spider-Man movies are missed. And I hope they do make a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 4 with Sam Raimi directing. Please make this. I'm praying. Make it. We need it. So,
well, yeah. Unfortunately, Disney is allergic to money, so it won't happen.
Disney does not like money.
They don't like money. I mean, that's the thing that I
any comments on what I just said, Alan? I want to give your commentary.
I mean, the best thing about the box office being down is that it's the return of the old classics, and there's a lot of them coming out.
Yeah,
and I will tell you that my daughter and I, we've been more excited about what Phantom Events is putting out than we are about what's coming.
I got tickets for the Muppet movie.
Yeah, we're doing Muppet movie.
I'm doing Run Lola Run.
Mm-hmm.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like,
it's Lord of the Rings. We are so excited about Lord of the Rings.
This is what's weird, or sort of overall. Classic movies are back.
Mm-hmm.
It's when Phantom Menace came out, it was number 2 at the box office. What was it? 14 million?
Yeah, somewhere. I don't think it was that high, but yeah.
Modern Hollywood is failing, and modern movies are failing. And those Spider-Man movies, the fact that the screenings were packed, they didn't just have like one screening. It was like all week. They're playing it like a regular movie.
Yeah.
And
so, I think it's still out there too. Yeah.
Yeah. So any comments on things I said? Are you going to see Shogun, or are you going to be?
I plan to. I'll keep complaining about it. I don't have time. I don't have time for a show like that.
Well, I hear you. It's cool.
Yeah.
But
the other thing is,
so good.
I'm going to bring up Arcadian. Look, Arcadian is an indie film in every sense of the word, other than the fact that Nicolas Cage is in it. It is an indie produced film. It had very little money. I had an enthusiastic director who wanted to tell this tale, and Nick Cage was on full on board. Actually, it was Nick Cage this was a Nick Cage idea, in fact. And you know, and I think my appreciation why I think I like it a lot more than you is because we are an indie film outlet, and that's very much an indie film, and that's why I loved it so much.
Yeah,
Other than that, I think
I'll support it because you know, I like Nick Cage. I will watch him in anything. I don't care. He makes interesting choices.
Yeah.
So,
and it's
there
a
you go.
movie about fathers and sons.
Yeah. Yeah, that too. Those core values that people can relate to, you know. The modern tropes are failing. The girl boss, the you know, evil white man, like people reject it. The sort of disdain for religion, the sort of mixed like heroism. Like there's, well, the bad guys, I can see it from their point of view, and Spider-Man had a little of that with Doc Ock, but wow, Spider-Man 2 was just, I actually got choked up a couple times.
Yeah.
Because it was like I was just lamenting the death of this kind of filmmaking. So there you are.